Ladies and gentlemen, please be welcome to this meeting. Today's date is December 17, 2024. The year of our Lord, I hereby recommend the city of Canton call this meeting to order. We will ask for a prayer today by Alderman Lafayette Wells.
Stand, shall we pray? Heavenly Father, we come today saying thank you again for this opportunity. We ask your blessing upon each individual that's represented here today. We pray all that we do to your glory, honor, and edification. And Father, we just thank you for your Son, Jesus, who came and gave his life that we have right to the tree of life. And this is the season of giving, and let us be mindful to help others who are less fortunate than we are. And just bless us individually and collectively. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Alderman Marquis Blunt. Alderman Rodriguez Brown.
Praise.
Alderman Fred Esco. Alderwoman Monica Gilkey. Alderman Les Penn. He's what? Alderman Tim Taylor.
Present.
Alderman Lafayette Wells.
Present.
Do what? Alderman Les Penn.
Present.
The mayor hereby certifies that we do indeed have a quorum. Before we start this meeting, I would like to invite the CMU, I guess you can say congregation, who are here today with us. We were also looking for Lawrence Blackman, who's not here as of yet. With that said, the mayor hereby calls for adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Tim Taylor, aye.
Wells, aye.
Brown,
That's right. Ten, aye.
Motion carried and the agenda is adopted. We next have before us Representative Lawrence Blackman.
What's going on? Is my turn?
Yes,
Okay. I like that.
You came right on time.
I'm okay and get right to it. What's going on, everybody?
There you go.
How y'all doing?
All right.
Okay, well, I'm here at you all's pleasure.
Attorney Blackman, just hold on one second.
Yes, sir.
Mayor, if I may,
Yes, sir.
yeah, I know on the agenda, but I was gonna ask if we could switch up because Mr. Wallace asked earlier if they could go first. He has to be at home to take care of his wife. So I was gonna ask if we could ask Mr. Attorney Blackman if he would wait and let CMU go, and then we'll get to you, if that's okay.
That's perfectly
And if
fine.
it pleases the board.
Okay.
It's okay.
If it pleases the board, it pleases me too.
Okay, great.
All right.
Well, in that case, we'll ask for the presenter.
Chief.
Presenter.
Yes, sir.
The Canton Utilities.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of the Board of Aldermen. I'm Lisa Ross, here on behalf of Canton Municipal Utilities. We received a letter a couple of weeks ago from Attorney Kim Banks asking us to appear before the board, and we're here today to answer any questions that the board may have.
Attorney Lisa Ross and Riverside Party Attorney. Got two lawyers talking. Attorney Lisa Ross is here today to ascertain what interrogatives that this board may have as it relates to CMU.
And Mr. Mayor, I may also add that I have here with me today, besides the board members and the general manager and three members of the Municipal Utilities
Yes, ma'am.
commissioners are here. I have Keith Turner and Mr. Lansky, who are both employed by CMU to handle certain legal work.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions that any of you have for, Ms. Lisa Ross and the members?
Attorney Ross, I just want to say I'm here. I'm on the conference call with Attorney Kimberly Banks.
Thank you.
Attorney Banks is here also online, so the question is, are there any questions we asked them to be here?
Yeah.
And hopefully there are questions.
Mayor, if I may.
Yes.
So at our last meeting, there was a discussion about CMU and, the vitality of CMU and what should be done based on what they do over there as commissioners. Of course, we went forward and we did not get a motion on the status of what was on the agenda to some degree. After the no vote, I suggested that we get the board members over here to let them explain to us who, what, when, where, and how did they come to the solution or the agreement that was bestowed upon the CMU board. And at this point, and the reason I'm asking this is because I'm familiar with what was going on over there, and that's unfair to the other board members to not know what was going on. So this is the only reason that I wanted the board to come and represent themselves and get rid of the myth that is out there about this particular board in this particular city. A lot of things are being said. There are things that are untrue. I had a Ward 5 meeting that a lot of questions were asked, but no truth to it. And the only way you can get to the truth and everybody get it at the same time is we welcome these board members from CMU to come to this particular meeting. But let me vent a little bit too. This board appoints every member over there on that CMU board. And for a couple of years now, I've been asking board members to come and kind of keep us in the know as to what's going on. It's just not CMU. I've asked the same thing of the Canton Public School Board. The only way we can disseminate information in a fair way is that we communicate to each other. And I hope this is the beginning of something new so we can go forward and truly be the family in this particular city that we so urgently need. So with that being said, at any opportunity, I don't know how you all are going to do the presentation, but we just love to kind of go back down memory lane and with the board members who are on the phone and who are here present to get an idea and understand the concept of where we are today over at the city Canton Municipal Utilities. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Are there any additional questions? Are you going to do a presentation? Are you to do a presentation?
Well, I'm not going to attempt to answer this question.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay, so back in April of 2019, Canton Municipal Utility was a member of the Madison County Wastewater Authority, along with other municipalities in Madison County. And Canton Municipal Utility, at that time, the board that was seated, and none of those members are currently on this board. They directed their then General Manager Stephen Thompson to appear before the MACWA board, the Madison County Wastewater Authority Board, to withdraw from membership. And there are benefits to being a member. And one of the disadvantages of being a non-member, which we became after we submitted our letter of resignation to that board, is that we were faced with a 50% surcharge, and which has resulted in probably close to $2 million of additional monies that Macro receives from CMU that it would not have been received if we had remained a member. So that resulted in certain litigation. Case was filed in Madison County Circuit Court. There were claims and counterclaims. Macro sued us, and I say us, Canton Municipal Utilities, and we countersued them. The judge, recently, or maybe a year or so ago, maybe a little more than a year, ruled on what we call a motion for summary judgment. Some of our claims survived, many of them didn't, and we were scheduled to go to court, next year, 2025, on those issues that remain after the judge granted the motion for summary judgment. Well, in the course of preparing for that case, we had other matters to come before us because of new businesses that were coming into the county. So, we employed another law firm, to, look into certain matters for us, and we were sued again in Chancery Court, by MACWA. And, Keith Turner and Mr. Erlansky, they were both hired to represent CMU. So at that time, we had these two lawsuits, the one that's in circuit court going on and the one that's in Chancery Court going on. And while working on the Chancery Court matter, the attorneys from Arkansas either were approached by MACWA to see if all actions could be resolved at once. And so we ended up with a recommendation, and the board voted to accept the recommendation of the attorneys on Arkansas either. And one of those that's been a source of a lot of talk here in Canton has been the transfer of Beatty's Bluff to Madison County Wastewater Authority. Well, and whether we had the authority under the law to do so, and there was a recommendation, and the board was fully briefed on it, and came to the conclusion that it was in the best interest of CMU to go ahead and settle the action that was pending in circuit court, the action that was pending in Chancery Court as well. And part of that settlement agreement called for the transfer of Beatty's Bluff back to MACWA, which Beatty's Bluff had never been, well, when the Board of Supervisors, and I'll invite John if someone to help me out on this, when it, Canton Municipal Utilities was listed maybe as the owner, but we had help from the Board of Supervisors, Madison County. That's how this Madison County Wastewater Authority came to be, to begin with. So it's not a giveaway. We, as a result of the transfer, we will resume our seat back on the Madison County Wastewater Authority, and we hope that we will be able to defray this $2 million. It looks like $2 million from 2020 up until today that we have not received because we've been charged a 50% surplus, our surcharge. And we would not have been charged that amount had we not voluntarily withdrawn from Madison County Wastewater Authority. I was not the attorney at that time, and as I said, none of the members, none of the commissioners who presently sit on CMU board were commissioners at that time. So we had no involvement in the withdrawal from the board, which actually put us in a bad situation because if you look at it, this $2 million that we have paid in the surcharge actually would have been money that could have been at CMU, used to fund the operations of CMU. CMU was hit very hard by this surcharge and the litigation that's going on. So in an effort to come from under the water, that is with the surcharge, and to get back to our rightful position on the Madison County Wastewater Authority, the board members felt that it was in its best interest to end the litigation in circuit court. And one of the ways to end it was to agree to transfer the ownership to the Madison County Wastewater Authority. And so that's where we are today.
And you just stated, and this is what I read in the package of information that I got once I was at CMU, that the creation was somewhat created by the Madison County Board of Supervisors. It was handed over to CMU to manage. I never read in that, in all of that paperwork where CMU owned it and was making a profit off of it, or losing a profit.
Well, we never made a profit in, off of the operations of these clubs. Is that what you?
Exactly, right. So when it comes to the subject matters of liability and asset, where does Beatty's Creek, Beatty's Bluff, I don't know where I got the creek from, Beatty's Bluff fit under those subject matters? Liability versus asset.
Well, if you look at this surcharge that we were getting, well, our withdrawal from the wastewater authority was, I would say, a liability, because if you look at the 50% surcharge we were getting. Beatty's Bluff, we are now a voting member, and once we withdrew, we had no authority, no say in anything that the wastewater authority did with Beatty's Bluff or anything else.
Okay.
We were just on the sideline. Now we will be back at the table in Canton Municipal Utilities Group. And you can look at it as the city of Canton, since we're owned by the city of Canton. We'll have a seat at the table, and we'll have a say in the operations of the sewage treatment. But as I appreciate it, the Madison County Wastewater Authority does not make money off of the treatment of the sewage.
Okay.
And I can be.
Do you mind if I step in on this? Good afternoon, my name is Keith Turner. I wanted to jump in a little bit on the liability question as well, because the plan, as you stated, was constructed 2 decades ago, and it has not been updated or capital improvements really in the past period of time, so it's in very poor condition. It needs millions of dollars of repairs. It's fully depreciated at this point as well, and so the liability is right now that it is in non-compliance, and it has been for a couple of years. Really, you can almost see the non-compliance timing into the same time when CMU was running out of money because of this 50% surcharge. And so you have a real struggle trying to maintain the operations of that plant with this lack of sufficient income because of the 50% surcharge. EPA has been involved, DEQ can be involved. I mean, y'all are familiar with the consent order that Jackson had to enter because of their problems. It's that kind of structure that you can get tied up in. By stepping aside like this, of course, that liability of getting all those resolved is NACWA's responsibility now. That's been settled. Y'all still have your other operations that you're still responsible for, but now you're going to have that cash flow to be able to deal with those other facilities, the lagoons and pump stations that you guys operate.
And Keith, correct me if I'm wrong, but right, and we'll go back to just paying that for our flow into the plant.
That's correct. That's right.
And we will not have this additional surcharge anymore.
And it's important to note also, if I may real quick, that surcharge is going to dramatically increase starting October 1, because MACWA went up on their rates to cover costs. And this past year, it was about $600,000+ you had to pay. This next fiscal year that we're going into is going to be over $1 million in surcharge that you would have had to pay also. And that, of course, is going away because we settled the case. But that's a lot of dollars that have to come out of the pockets of the Canton. That's because of that surcharge structure. So.
When Canton was divorced from, what you said, from Mac,
Yes, sir.
well, still not Canton, CMU.
CMU.
CMU still in charge of surcharge.
Well, effective this settlement agreement, it's going to end. Yeah, this next month it will not occur.
But it was paying surcharge.
It was paying surcharge effective that withdrawal. Yes, sir.
And what was that surcharge on a monthly basis?
It averages somewhere between $30,000 and $60,000 a month. it has to do with the flow of the community. So during heavier flow periods, the surcharge is obviously higher. It had gotten to the point just this past year where it was more than just that you were losing money, you were actually in the negative on several months, where you had to pay more than you were actually even getting out. And so you were going backwards even worse. That's why I say that if next year's gonna be over $1 million spread out over those 12 months on average. It's a lot more than even the 50,000 next year.
My question was, the maintenance and upkeep was the sole responsibility of CMU, but not shared with NACWA.
The way the structure is designed, the agreement is CMU is responsible for maintaining that upkeep. It's their job. The billing and the cost is spread back to the billing to NACWA.
So,
Let me finish this one part of this. CMU had to float those dollars for capital items and everything else. So CMU's responsibility to have that money up front, and they have to collect it later on as NACWA pays its bill. When you went into the surcharge mode, in this litigation fight, nobody was paying anybody. So CMU was having to maintain a facility without having sufficient dollars to cover the capital cost improvements and maintenance costs.
but before that period of time with the litigation, shouldn't there have been monies accounted for and paid in by NACWA along with CMU before the separation point in time, where if they had paid fees until NACWA to help with the upkeep?
That's correct, they were, and that's what I mentioned.
Where those funds?
Well, they were maintaining compliance. That's what I mentioned. If you look at EPA and DEQ compliance, the posture for each month, the non-compliance problems at the plant began when CMU was hit up this big surcharge. They didn't have enough money. Prior to that period of time, there was enough dollars to take care of the plant properly. And so it wasn't a problem, because yes, they billed NACWA for the cost of whatever was going on.
And I would just say, Alderman Brown, that maybe the agreement could have been different, but we were operating on the agreement as it was written, which required us to, that was something that CMU did agree to do before this current, Board of Commissioners.
And there's some other important aspects of the settlement that I think we should be noted on. And if you don't mind, I'd like to touch on some of my points. One of those is CMU, as a member originally of NACWA, agreed to pay its share of debt associated with some state revolving loans, costs that NACWA was paying for. Those dollars, each member had to pay their percentage of share. When the litigation came in and NACWA withdrew, when CMU withdrew from NACWA, CMU told NACWA that they were going to continue to pay and wanted to pay, but there was a decision by a prior board to stop making those payments. That money is $1.7 million for interest and debt that's owed to NACWA right now. NACWA has agreed to wipe that slate clean on that. So that money is not going to be obligated. CMU will not have to pay that. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we can have, I have a document that goes through this. If you
Well, let me ask you a question while you finish
Yes.
that out. Apparently there are 3 loans, and perhaps it has been completely eradicated. One is the Parkway East Force Main loan, a $2 million. One is the Bozeman Road PS2 loan, $1.8 million. And the other is the Trustmark loan, $4 million, supposed to end in November 2025, 2024. So what I'm asking, are you saying that those those state revolving funds, SRF loans,
And the trust
the
fund.
Parkway East Main Force loan, the trust fund long-term note, and all of that comes to a total, look like about almost $7 million.
Well, that's currently owed, you said, or the total loan amount at the time.
Yeah, I mean,
That wasn't the loan at the time.
at the time.
That's right, and there's still remaining debt owed on that. But the past payment that CMU is supposed to pay, I'm sorry, that's 1.7, that's a depreciation.
Well, pursuant, CMU has a partial amount that it pays on these SRF loans. The interrogative I'm asking you is, what were those amounts? So if the amount on the Bozeman Road PS2 loan was $2 million, then what was CMU's loan? If the amount for the not 1.8, but for $2 million loan, which is the Parkway East Force main loan, which was a $2 million loan that's actually was due June 30th in 2030. So the question in this circumstance is, what was CMU paying on the Parkway East Force main loan, $2 million that was due 2030, as well as the Bozeman Road PS loan 2 that's due June 30th, and the $4 million Trustmark note that was due. I'm trying to ascertain, I know what the total amount is, but I'm asking you to share with me, what is it that CMU owed?
I don't have the exact number.
You don't have the exact
No, sir,
number?
I don't, but I can tell you that the debt that they were supposed to pay from the date that they withdrew from MACWA was not paid, and that debt is going to be forgiven. MACWA's not going to ask for it, it's over with the settlement. And that debt is actually $789,000 plus the interest that would be owed to MACWA. That goes away. Going forward, the remaining debt is owed by the Trustmark and any other SRFs. CMU will begin paying its share of interest as they would as a MACWA member. And that's divided amongst all the MACWA members.
I understand that. And so what I'm asking is, I think the CMU's attempted to eradicate itself from debt. And so when CMU rejoins MACWA, it'll still have debt, as you stated, on the Trustmark note of $4 million. Is that debt on the principal, or is that debt on the interest?
There's both owed, but it's MACWA's debt, not CMU's, just for bond issues, it's not.
Yeah, I understand that.
Okay.
What percentage of it that CMU pays, since you have 5 members, is that right?
That's right.
For MACWA?
Yeah.
What I'm asking is, what will CMU's debt be?
I don't have that number with me next time, I'm sorry. We didn't calculate the remaining amounts owed going out. We were looking for what was owed in the past and what we could make go away.
Well, the only reason I ask that is because moving forward, CMU has to have an awareness of its indebtedness
Sure.
in our category regardless of magnitude.
Right.
And maybe you can email that.
Well, we do have that number. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know, we don't have, we're in a rate case process right now, so we calculated all the debt. We can certainly get that to you tomorrow. That's not a problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for coming. In terms of, as you said, that 50% upcharge, so in other words, if a MACRA member was paying $3, CSU was paying $4.50.
That's correct.
So that can add up. Yeah. Okay.
And as I said, it's going to be even larger this next year because of the increase in the rates.
Any other questions?
Yeah,
So it won't be a surge.
It would have, excuse me, it would have been. Thank you so much for correcting that.
So, I noticed in the global agreement that there's an erasing of attorney fees. You're responsible for your own attorney.
No,
fees,
yeah, that's correct, each side is, yes.
Okay, so, okay.
Yeah, and again, as Alderman Will said, thank you all for coming. In your presentation, you talked about the early days of Beatty's Bluff and MACWA and who was on the board and the person that was removed from the board. We know who the person was that was removed. Is there a reason why, or was someone advised to remove that person from the board?
I can only speculate. I've asked that question and tried to learn why did you step away from the board?
Yeah.
Because honestly, it makes no sense from our perspective because it was 50% surcharge. But unfortunately, the people here were not part of that decision-making process, and so we really don't know what they were thinking at the time.
Yeah, because there's nothing in the documentation that says anything as to why that particular person removed himself or was removed from the board.
Well, we do have a minutes from that meeting, from the April 2nd, 2019 meeting. And it doesn't really,
It's in the very latest one, I guess. It just talks about the resolution, right?
it just talks about the resolution.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it doesn't really offer an explanation as to why. I think it's really, from my understanding of reading this and also the pleadings from the cases and talking to folks, it sounds like there was, a real disconnect between the parties and they were feuding about everything. And they felt like they just needed to not participate.
Okay.
But again, I don't know if they knew about the 50% surcharge, it's agreement when they did.
May I approach? May I approach, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, ma'am. Are there any more questions?
Yeah, one more.
That's the whole package. That's the whole package.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, okay.
Yeah.
Give me that back, Dr.
And the portion that you were asking
She
me
says the
about,
whole package.
I gave him 1 set of minutes,
Yeah.
and he began to
Oh,
write
really?
the pages down. I have him and share the minutes. I have one copy.
Okay,
And in those minutes, it does not say why, it makes reference to a resolution, that was
Right.
adopted by the board. But it does not say why CMP is seeking or sought to exit Madison County Wastewater Authority at that time.
so at that time, if I may ask,
Yes.
at that time, who's the attorney on the board at that time? Was it you?
Ms. Blackman.
It's Black. All right, one more question, I'll be through with you. As far as the member that went back to the McElroy board, is it a confidential member? You all can't tell us who it is?
It will be a member,
The board has to decide.
The board has-
Oh, you all have decided it's gonna go? Okay. And
it
it'll
could
come-
be a commissioner or the general manager is what we've done in the past. And if, more likely than not, it will be the general manager appearing on behalf of the CMP.
Okay. That's all I have.
Anybody else?
I was hoping that we could hear from the board members today too. If they have no more to do than to come and introduce themselves, because a lot of these board members don't know who the members are on this committee.
Well, I'll go first.
Okay. Well, we know you.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I'm Commissioner Sabrina Williams, Vice President. Does anyone have any questions?
How long you been serving now?
Over 3 years. Been over 3 years. I did want to point out, though, that CMU will be saving, without the surcharge, $1.7 million. That's what we would have been charged additionally if we would have still been separated from MAPA. So by rejoining MAPA, it will save us an additional $1.7 million. So I just want to. Per year.
Chairman of the board. I'm glad that you guys have appointed me to this position, and my main goal was to get CMU in a better position. I've been here in almost 4 years, and it's been a challenge. It's been work, and I'm continuing to put my all into this to make this company become better than what it was. And another thing about the macro situation, we had a lot of issues out there, and it would cost us close to almost $30 million. So eliminating that problem would save CMU a lot of money.
Let me ask you a question if I may. Who did the calculations that caused you to believe that you were near bankruptcy? Where did those figures come from?
Well, we also, every meeting we have some, a bean count basically, to give us a bean count basically, to give us the information that shows what's needed to make sure we have all bills paid, what we have in general funds, assets, liabilities, and etc.
But has your PSC request rate been approved?
Not at this particular time.
You
It has to appear
We
before the
anticipate.
PSC in January.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Judge King.
I'll stand on this, young lady. On the line.
I just wondered if you had a reason.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's so good to be here, and I need to get a little understanding. Now, this is a call meeting, a regular meeting, a special meeting. What is this meeting?
This is the city of Canton's, board and all of the meetings regularly.
Where are the people?
The
I
people right
see
now.
us and I know us, but where is the community?
Oh, well, that is the one thing, just like your meeting over there at CMU, it's hard to get people out. At school board meeting, same thing, unless awards are given out, people are not showing up. I think when some devastating things start happening, I'm not wishing that. I think this is when the people will become more interested in what's going on in the city.
Yeah, I was just surprised, because I thought it was gonna be a packed house. You know, I didn't get out my little.
No. Yeah.
But, I am delighted, to be able to be here as a citizen of Canton. And everybody in here, and everybody around about here, I never fail to pay my taxes, okay? So I pay my taxes. And I expect, not because I'm on the CMU board, but as being a member of this community. And right now, I'm pretty upset, rather disturbed. John Q. Jones, Citizen Q, whatever, out there now this evening, people are getting off work. They're going home. They need hot water, clean water, and they need that heat on. And for some of them, it's a struggle. And when I hear, in my very minimal way, you know, and participate in the board, and it's just money. And it looks like we just draining, you know, and all. And I've only been here a short time. I took Robert's place. And I'm grateful and thankful to you all for allowing me to continue in my beloved husband's shoes. I don't know if I can fit in a people trail. But anyway, again, I've got a lot to say that I would like to say individually and as a group. But I'm not very happy with the mayor and board here, and we work so hard. Come see us sometime. Alderman, come over and visit with us, because we work very hard. And it's not, you know, we're not going to a tea party. This is serious business. This is people's money. You know, I have to budget my utility bill out. And if we can't get control on this, we need to hurry up. We need not hurry up, but we need to be cautious, but we need to do something. Because our citizens out there that voted for us and have voted for me, they trust us.
Yes.
And they accept, they think that we're doing good, which we are. But I think we can do better, we can treat them better. But I'm not gonna live in this community, on the board or off the board. Make a little note, on the board or off the board, I'm not gonna live in this community and watch the constituents, folks that have not only voted for me for years, but my neighbors and friends, suffer at the hands of anything that we made that could have been done better. You know, I had to get my own legal pad out and my pencil with the erase on it and start writing my own essay. And it's not a threat, but I do love to write. I love to write. Now, I could say a whole lot more, but I'm not, because people want to go home. But here again, this is your regular meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it always like this, or is it just
Mostly.
control?
No, people just don't attend.
They-
Listen to
they-
meetings.
They're not that interested, or they have no hope. What is it?
They have hope, they just don't come.
They're watching on Facebook.
Alderman.
If they're watching on Facebook, well,
Yeah.
I sit down and again, I thank you and I appreciate you very much, each and every one of you. I know every one of you.
Yes, ma'am.
And I appreciate you so much. But let us get this, Beavis, Bluff, all this business, Michael, boy, those two names are just like a wear thin. Let us get busy here and get this settled. It cannot go on forever. And Dr. Trudy, I would like to have a word with you before I leave here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other, you make a statement?
I'm Commissioner Jacob Baldwin. I'm Helen's appointed, and we have the city of Canton, our residents, we're making decisions.
Thank you for coming.
Any other questions? Oh, Alderman Griffin.
Thank you all for coming.
I think you see that, John Martin.
We're gonna recognize John Wild.
Oh, okay.
allowed me to serve on CMU board. And I guess my concern was what I had been hit since 2015, I guess. I've been hearing a lot and reading a lot in the newspaper about CMU and audits and different things, but I didn't know any details, so I decided to stay out of it. And I'm going to take a little thing here. In 2015, we had reserve funds allocated to about 10 different things. And about $6.5 million was set aside for the gas replacement and the cast iron to plastic. $2 billion was set aside, I don't remember all of them, but replacing the liner in the North Lagoon, which is about deteriorated out right now. Over that period of time, and I promised myself I'm going to try to find out where the $17 million went in a 6 years period of time. I have not been able to do that because we had too many other things going on.
Have you called for an audit?
There is.
He said that he called for an audit, but we did a year audit.
The audit was just completed, I think. But Mayor, I swear to you, there's no reason for that.
What, an audit?
No, for the money being used up. And what I thought might be going on is they were buying new equipment, or they were repairing the pumping stations, or whatever. Turns out, none of that was done. Our sewer pumping stations are in pitiful condition. We got some of them, only one pump is running. The CMU didn't have the money to replace them. So, when I come in and find out, not only is that money gone, but CMU is in a financial position where it couldn't pay its monthly bills. It had to wait until it collected from last month in order to pay the existing bills. So they only paid the ones that had to be, and you put the others aside for the next time when you had the money to pay them. That's a bad situation. When you come from a situation where we, back in the day, and I'm not talking about myself, but when the board met and approved the docket, the checks were already written. And they went out the next day after it was approved. Nothing went more than 15 days. And I was so sad to see what had taken place over this period of time for an organization that was supporting the city, doing whatever it could to help, in that regard, to a point where we were in debt and had to go borrow money to pay the bills with. Now we got to pay that money back along with paying the current bills. Right? And that's what I say disturbs me, and it does. And for what little I can offer is trying to help us get out of this hole that we're in, up to where at least we're level ground, and then start building on that in the next couple of years. That's where I'm coming to the picture.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I was going to give, if I may.
Yes, sir.
I know we have, the general manager of that, Mr. Howard Beyond, and if he would like to come, I'd love to hear from him. That's up to you.
Is there anybody else, want to hear from?
I think that's it, right?
I
Gotta
think
get in line.
I appreciate you all, we appreciate you all just, trusting us in what we do. We don't take our jobs lightly, especially the board, they don't take their jobs lightly. They do their research, they do their due diligence before we do anything. We make sure that what we're doing is what's best for CMU, and also for the city. Again, like Mr. Wallace said, we hate that, we sat down and the system, and it was there when we sat there. So we had to do something. We had to make sure that CMU did not just, okay, that was it.
Any other, yes, ma'am.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, you just said,
First of all, I want to say thank you all again. I hope that this is not the last time we see you all, because we have been requesting. For me, communication goes both ways, and we're expecting to see you all, not just when there's trouble. Because a lot of times, people come here before us, businesses are coming to establish businesses in here, and they're coming to us and say, well, we've been told that CMU has a water capacity issue, which we don't know anything about. That, for me, and I can only speak for me, is a problem. That becomes a problem. Because we're trying to grow revenue here and make businesses come. We want to have economic development in Canton. And when we don't know what you guys are doing, or if you're having hardships over there or problems, and it's under the auspices of Canton, we are Canton. We are part of Canton. And if we don't know what you guys are doing, and you all don't know what we're doing, and if we're never coming together to have communication, then it's like one side knows one thing and the other one doesn't. It's like, just like a whirlwind. It just keeps spinning and nobody knows anything and nothing gets accomplished. So I am going to challenge each of us to open that line of communication. We come to you all come to us. But we need to know what's going on over there, because people are calling us about issues with CMU. I have no idea what to tell them. I tell them to call the CEO over at CMU, because that's who runs CMU. But again, it goes back to the communication. And I do want to know, because we have not heard anything about it. We've heard about Venus Bluff for the last few months. What is the current water capacity? Because if we can't have someone come today asking us to build houses or facilities in our area, we need to know if we have a water capacity, because we're telling them one thing, they're going to somewhere else and getting other information. And the lack of communication amongst the two entities just isn't working.
No, we have different systems. I think we kind of talked about it one time before. I think when I first got to see it, y'all said that the previous general manager didn't give y'all information. And I think I gave our handouts from this Department of Health, where it says we were at 94% at the time. So what we're doing now, we're working on
97%.
Yeah. But last time.
Oh, your other ladies, yeah.
Ladies is 94%. So, and we're working to create that. We're looking at wells. We all went down to DC trying to get, we all get that together in the past 2 years, I think it is. And we're also looking at pulling some water from Lake Caroline down to Archie area to bring it back up 51. That's what we're looking at doing here lately. We're working with Wagner just like you all are working with Wagner. So hopefully we'll get that squared away within the next year, everything will be fine. But what we have created is it's called a water model. And what we can do whenever a person decides to, a contractor decides to come and put in a subdivision, where we put that subdivision in our water model, and it tells them what the capacity is, what we can do, and what we can't do. We will keep you updated.
Thank you. Thank you.
And one last thing, not it's nothing for you, just to say I appreciate the information at the last meeting, making your predictions and your plans for 2025. I enjoyed reading it, and makes me feel like I'm a board member over there. So if that worked out over here, maybe you all let me come over there. But anyway, thank you, Attorney Ross. We appreciate it.
I would release Attorney Ross.
Well, since I invited you, I thought I could release.
I think that I understand what CMU is attempting to do. I'm impressed that there were alternatives. Someone could have purchased Venus Bluff, but it was never put up for sale. I'm also impressed that this was a bad deal. And let me tell you why it was a bad deal. First of all, in the global agreement, CMU rendered not just Venus Bluff, but it also rendered the land that Venus Bluff sits on. So you're talking about Venus Bluff having a value of $67 million. Mackerel owns the other half. You're talking about the land that Beach Bluff sits on having a value of $4 million. So now you're up to $11 million. You took $750,000 that was gathered to CMU by Senator Blackman, that took you up to $12 million. So CMU by definition surrendered $12 million for this deal. And that's a lot. And my other point is that I'm impressed that this lawsuit would have been won by Ed Blackman if it had been allowed to move forward. And why do you say that? Ed Blackman just won a $6.2 million case from CMU in the Warnock case. And there was Rudy Warnock.
Okay, you want what?
You remember when Rudy Warnock sued CMU for $6.2 million?
Right.
Yeah,
Saying
right.
that he was owed $6.2 million.
No.
We never wrote a check.
Rudy Warnock claimed that he was owed $6.2
Yeah, so we never wrote a check to.
No. But you would have wanted to really check if you had won the case.
Right.
That's my point.
Right.
And
But
so,
we did not win $6.something million.
no,
We defeated Rudy Warnock.
you defeated Rudy Warnock,
We did.
okay, because of the two of you, whoever was represented, and he was the attorney that handled the case.
Right.
That's my position on this. And so, look, it's over with, and we simply have to make the best out of it. But I need to share with you that this is not necessarily a point of interest of CMU and a point of interest of the city of Canton. This is a public interest. And people are screaming and they want to know what in the world happened. And they're hearing about this. This is a small town. Everybody knows everybody's middle name. And so, you know, I'm not a board member. And what injured some of us, that some of the board members had told us they were not going to vote on this. But some kind of a way, there was a meeting, there was a litigation issue, and we spell out that this is what it was. But as far as I'm concerned, I think it was a bad deal. And that's not their opinion.
And everybody will have their opinion, and I'm sure the
Correct.
opinions in the room will vary, but I will tell you that I believe from the seat where I was seated at the table that the commissioners should put the interest of Canton Municipal Utilities in the city of Canton ahead of their own in any kind of personal interest. None of them had a personal stake in the outcome. And Mr. Blackman is a very fine lawyer, and I believe that he would have done well had the matter gone to trial, but it's never any way to predict the outcome of a trial. So just like it could have gone well, it could have gone bad. And in the meantime, we were looking at maybe the EPA coming down on the Canton Municipal Utilities for the problems and the deficiencies that existed at Beatty's Bluff, and it would have taken more than $7 million to correct those problems. So I don't know, maybe sometime down the road when we look back on it, we'll see the benefit of having followed this course that the commissioners have followed.
But those EPA problems still exist now, is that right?
Yeah, but they won't be the city of, they won't be Canton Municipal Utilities problem alone, because right now, we were the operator of the plant. So we would have been cited, not Madison County Wastewater Authority, even though they don't send flow to the Beatty's Bluff like we do. So now, as we move forward, the deficiency will be completed under MACWA, and they will, if there is any liability or any penalties that are assessed, then MACWA will bear that. Of course, we will be a member of MACWA as well.
But you just have one vote.
Right. But some votes are
You
based
don't really have
upon.
the real authority, that's my
Well, hey, We didn't create Madison County wastewater authority, but I can tell you one thing.
I
We
understand.
didn't have that one vote,
I
and
know.
for 2 years, we incurred over $2 million in surcharges, so that's worth something. We'll get that from over our neck.
I understand that, but I'm just saying to Keith and everybody else, like you said, people have different opinions. It was a bad deal to have to give up $12 million for this deal. Here. Yes,
Mind if I
sir.
respond briefly? Okay, well, first of all, I don't agree with the number, but I don't want to get into the number argument, but I do want to be clear about something about the case. There was a summary judgment that was already issued in this case, and most of the issues were already resolved against CMU. For example, the depreciation argument. CMU had been collecting depreciation for years. That was found against CMU in $1.7 million plus interest has already been awarded.
So that's Chancery Court.
No, this is a circuit court case.
Okay.
So that's 1.7 against CMU already. The lease payments were found against CMU. That's just $165,000. The debt payments already mentioned, $789,000. The 50% surcharge, which was being argued by CMU as not valid, was already found against CMU in the summary judgment case, the summary judgment order. And then finally, there was already $500,000 in insurance fees that had already been ordered against CMU for what has been conducted thus far. So, granted, yes, those are appealable, but a large part of this case has already been resolved through summary judgment, and it is not a slam dunk to get it under appeal. It's a lot more work and a lot more money. And so I don't agree with you that this was a case that could have been won successfully, because all of this stuff is very much.
And I don't agree with you. And
I understand.
Let me tell you why. Because the figures that you just gave me, add up to what dollar value?
Well, that's about $3.5 to $4 million.
What I'm talking about, I'm talking about, it added up to $3 million. I'm talking about seeing you having to give up $12 million in dollar value.
Well,
to settle this case.
That's what we're going to disagree on the value of that.
Well, we can get some correct figures.
I'd be glad to meet with you and go over it. I mean, I've been dealing with wastewater stuff for 30 years.
And I've been dealing with figures for 50 years.
Well, we could have a good conversation.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks, Attorney.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I may, before we bring up Attorney Blackman, I'm gonna ask you if you could just stay around 2 more minutes, because I want a group of people in on this. So many times we go through life and we achieve things and then we get acknowledged for it. Well, on this particular day, we just celebrated the Jackson State University Tigers winning the that's amazing. And also, a member of that particular school serves on this particular board.
And no food.
Well, come on this board now, y'all had the spotlight. And this particular member just received her bachelor's degree maybe a week ago. In addition to that, so we want to say congratulations. And also at the same time, this particular member just celebrated her birthday. You want to tell how old you are?
I'm 56 years old.
Therefore, when people go through these achievements in life, there's not a whole lot you can do or give. But you can say congratulations, and we love you, and we appreciate you, and this is you. And we have the board of aldermen and the mayor. Congratulations. Okay, all right. Okay. Thank you all. I appreciate it. Y'all. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Representative Blackman.
All right.
Good evening, board.
Good evening.
Okay.
First of all, thanks for being so cordial.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm waiting.
I enjoyed it.
Very noticeable.
It was very informative. I didn't know what's going on with CMU too.
That's right.
That's right.
Thank you.
Anytime. So I'm here at you all's pleasure and at you all's request to discuss, I'm assuming, the upcoming legislative session and what you all's priorities are and how I can help you all to achieve those priorities in the State House. So, given that, I think it may be more appropriate for you all to start telling me what it is that I can do for you, and then let the conversation flow from there.
We did a resolution, we did a resolution with Mr. Bakuro.
Right. Quincy, for the money for the crime center. Right, okay.
That was one of the things that we were supposed to talk about.
And I respond to that.
Yeah, that was one of the things.
That was one of the things, and that is $1 million. The $1 million.
Hold on, man. Hey, y'all don't mind. Hey, y'all don't mind. Mr. John. Hey, whoever you're talking.
That's right.
It's too loud out there.
He's out, yeah.
It was like a put out.
Yeah.
The $1 million of the crime will not build you a building.
No, that's right.
So I would imagine that the planning,
And also, you know, he had some equipment and stuff that he wanted to start.
The
building.
cameras.
Right.
The cameras in the real time.
Yeah,
It's
real time.
a real time crime data center.
Right, start building tubes before you get to a building. That's
Right, and I think in the resolution, $1 million was requested. I agree with the mayor that $1 million is probably not enough.
Right.
What I discussed with the mayor earlier was that, maybe what we want to request is, maybe $1 million a year over 3 years or something like that. I had a preliminary discussion with a representative from Motorola, who Quincy did set up that meeting. And we were supposed to be having a follow-up, I guess it's supposed to be the last meeting, which I couldn't attend through COVID. But I will be following up with Quincy so that we can continue those conversations with Motorola. They were supposed to be getting to us was a breakdown of how much everything was going to cost and how much we would get for whatever package it was that they were offering. What I would envision is cameras all over the city, like they have some in some of our more major cities in the U.S. I think that one thing that I can point to is the killing of the CEO in New York. They were able to piece everything together using cameras and set up all over the city. Now, obviously, New York is a much better funded municipality than Canton, but I think that a push from us, a public safety push from us, that includes money for that type of technology is a step in the right direction. So what I would say is that, if you all are going to make your way to the Capitol again this year, see me. I'm there. I don't invite everybody, especially not my Canton people. So if you all want to come and you all want to lobby, then let's make sure that we have all hands on deck effort and have a well-coordinated effort and know who we're going to speak to, what we're going to be asking them for, so we're all on the same page and we don't seem all over the place. So I think that would be a good thing to do. What we need to do is figure out a date and a time for us to do that. I'll be wide open for the entirety of the session, so you all let me know what works best for you all, and then I will get with Trey Lamar, who is the head of the Ways and Means, to see about having him present for meetings, so we can make a serious push for that.
Well, let me put my little 2 cents in. I've been talking about for 5 years now, or maybe 10 years. And I hope this doesn't serve as a competitive or competing issue. And I think now that the time has come, since we sit on the main artery called I-55, we have branches like 22, 16, 43, people are in and out of our town all the time. And so I always say, why not Canton? And the reason I say why not Canton, because, that's the truth. So the issue is, why is it that Canton did not have a convention center? It's an economic development project. The largest one is in Jackson, at that convention center. Not only is it that I asked the question, why not Canton as a convention center? MDA gives a $20 million rebate. FEMA gives $6 to $7 million as a consequence of using it as a shelter. So I think that we need to get with our architect and engineers and try to see if we can design what's known as a convention center a real convention center where you could hold meetings right here in Canton, because Richmond is right down the road as well as Madison. And if you build it, people will come. So now we have all of these local economies that Alderman Bell talks about. We got Nissan, we got Coca-Cola, we have
Amazon.
AWS and distribution center. We got about 400 homes coming here over the next 2 years. And so the population is going to be growing. And so we're primed for a convention center. And so when I talk about a convention center, I talk about a 15,000, 20,000 square foot convention center with all kinds of amenities that can hold large conventions as well as small conventions. And also it's multi-purpose. And if I can get the board to approve it at some point, maybe next year, presenting it to the legislature, maybe we can start some movement on what would be a benefit to the city of Canton of having something in that convention center for kids and children as well as for senior citizens.
I think that sounds like a great idea. I agree. Why not Canton? If that is something that you all want to get approved and get some specs drawn up, then I think that, let's make a push for it. I know that some of the things that we asked for last year for multi-purpose complex, for the air conditioning and things like that, we didn't get those things last year. I don't know if you all want to make a renewed push for that stuff again this year. I see that some upgrades that we made in here, it looks a lot better than the last time I was here, but I know that money for renovations of City Hall was included in the ask for last year. So I don't know if you all want to make a renewed push, for that. If you want to say forget all of that stuff and just getting a multi-purpose, convention center the focus, but whatever way you all want to go on that, you all have my full support.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions?
If I may, Mayor?
Yes, sir.
How you doing? Good to see you again.
Good to
And
see
thank you for coming.
No, anytime.
Truly appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
One of the most dynamic statements I've heard since I've been in the city of Canton is the concept of the city of Canton being a donut hole. I'm quoting the Honorable Dr. William Truly. I know the players that are in the game. Why? And I know the state was just made. Why not Canton? So this question is, why is the city of Canton being put in a situation where economic development is evading, to some degree not wanting to come here, and the people that we think are supposed to be our cheerleaders and our supporters, I'm wondering if they're actually pushing us 100%. That we're in this donut hole, and of course we know what donut looks like, and in that hole there's nothing. And when you look at nothing, and look at the cities that are going around us, we're getting nothing. And to some degree, I do know, and I've said this quite a few times, nobody wants to make a multi-million-dollar investment in a place that doesn't take care of what they already have. There will be a push to do better, no doubt. I know we gotta cosmetically fix it, clean it up, and I hope that we continue the trends that we're going forth in. But from your perspective, and I know you haven't been that long, but from an economic standpoint, I've listened to you, I've read some stuff, and I know you know what you're talking about. Why can't? That would be my question.
Well, respectfully, Councilman, I think that is a question that would be better asked amongst your peers here. Driving economic development in the municipality, that's not a function of the state legislative branch, that's a function of the municipal government. And so when we talk about the cities around Canton, we have Madison, who's led by who? Mary Hawkins. Mary Hawkins has done a phenomenal job of building that city up from almost nothing since the 80s into one of the premier cities in Mississippi in the 70s. Thank you. And so, that's a question that I think is better posed to you all. You all can have a discussion probably in a private session about that. Now, I can tell you, I can speculate about some things because I do live in Canton and I am from Canton. And I have also lived in some other major cities and worked with other municipalities, for example, in D.C., and they were able to turn that city around from a city that was very much not reaching its potential in the 80s and the early 90s to being maybe the premier one of the premier cities in the United States today. But, you know, a lot of uncomfortable things had to happen in order for them to turn that city around. And it began with a big push to curb violent crime in the city, right? Because in addition to just the cosmetics, that's one thing, but, you know, companies are going to be hesitant to make investments in cities that have a crime rate that is far above the norm, right? So if we look at just the immediate cities in central Mississippi, the ones that are experiencing the least amount of economic development are Canton and Jackson. And what do we have in common with Jackson? A lot of violent crime. So it's going to be hard to spur economic development, meaning economic development in a town that has a high crime rate. And so just to speak to that, you know, I've been in discussions with our chief over the last few months about the information that I have received and maybe do some brainstorming with them about some of the things that we can do to curb some of the violent crime. I spoke with U.S. Attorney Todd G. on yesterday. He was able to finally get approval from Bishop Furious in Washington, D.C. to engage with me as a state leader, as well as our chief and our district attorney about some of the resources that they have available to them at the federal level to fight some crime and to get some investigations done and hopefully to make some arrests. A very important arrest was made recently by the chief, an individual who I spoke with. All of you all don't think that I got to you, Mr. Brown. I spoke with everyone else about this individual a few weeks ago with some of the concerns that were both being brought to my attention and things that I was witnessing myself. So that's done. I think that we need to continue to follow that up and make some other arrests on some of these cold cases, some of these open murder cases that have been going on for a while, so that the community can be reassured that we have a law enforcement, a head of law enforcement and a law enforcement agency that's able to get the things done in this town that need to be done. And so, like I said, I just spoke with Todd yesterday, and we are going to coordinate a meeting for the top of the year. I'll get the chief to find out his availability and waiting on the district attorney's office to get back to me about their availability. But, you know, I think that we want to have real economic development in this town, in addition to some of the stuff that we've had. Now, we just bought AWS, that's one of the biggest employers in the state. We're going to get a whole lot of money for our education system here in Canton from that. So we have Nissan, we have Coca-Cola. And so we are getting some things on the outskirts, but we don't want them to continue to include the heart of Canton, to exclude the heart of Canton, right? And so that's what I think is happening. And I think in order to turn the tide on that, we're going to have to get a grip on the violent crime. I've been here most of my life. I've spent periods in other places, but I have never seen crime out of control like it is now in Canton. You hear the gunshots at night, you hear during the day, and people are scared to live their lives the way they should be able to live them as a result of that. So I think that's one way, and I think that's a good start. I think that once we get a better handle on that, then maybe we can have other discussions about how to move the needle forward a little more. And so I look forward to that. And if any of you are interested in participating in this upcoming meeting, the U.S. Attorney's Office and the AG's office, the district attorney, and our chief, then I'll make sure to keep you all informed on that as well, so that we can come together and all be on the same page as far as that goes.
One more thing.
Yes, sir.
Any communication from your office to our board of supervisors here in Madison County? Is there any communication between the two?
Yeah, I'm here right now.
No, from Madison County Board of Supervisors.
Oh, the Board of Supervisors. No, I have not had any conversations with them as a group. Just like I'm here, I'll come here if they want me, but you know, they'll have to invite me. I'm not going to impose myself on the Board of Supervisors, but if there's something that they would like to meet with me about or speak with me about, I pride myself on being available. Okay.
Yeah.
My cell phone number is out there. If y'all don't have it, you can take it, and you know, I'm around. I'm available to me.
And the reason I asked that about communication, there were two subject matters last year or the year before last, and they dealt with money, a $290 million bond issue and another $90 bond issue. And all the entities were served except the city of Canton. We didn't get one dime, we didn't get one street paid. So I'm wondering, is there a breakdown in communications? I mean, undoubtedly there's no communication with us because we have to end up reading it in the Sunday newspaper. So I was just wondering if is there a way to, and I heard you say that if they invite you, you would go. So I was wondering, is there a way to upgrade the communication so we be more in the loop as to what's going on? And, you know, get some of that pie that's being distributed out there.
I agree with that. Now, 2 years ago, that would predate my term, so I don't know what was going on then. If there's anything that comes up that, you know, that I believe would be a particular concern to this board, then obviously I would bring it to you all's attention. And the same for the board of supervisors. So is there a breakdown in communication? No. Have I had any communication with them? No, and that's because they haven't reached out to me.
Okay.
But if I needed to reach out to them, then you can rest assured I would do that as well.
Okay, absolutely.
So the communication is open as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, great. That's it.
Alderman Bell.
Yes, again, thank you, Reverend Blackman.
Yes, sir.
In terms of relationship with the other representatives who represent some parts of Madison County, how's that going? You know, like Representative Jonathan McMillan and Representative from Yazoo City, he has a small portion of Madison County. Thomas, Representative Thompson. How's those relationships since you're
I've had very good relationships with Thomas and McMillan.
Okay.
McMillan and I, we say we work across the aisle together because I sit on one side and he sits with me on the other side. But look, these are great people. I've enjoyed getting to know them over the last year, and they are on the same page as I am as far as working together to make Madison County still the premier county. It's already the premier county in the state, but to keep it that way. But I think that, you know, I would like to see Canton come forward a little bit and take a more prominent position in that rank of cities in this county and what's going on with the economic development there. But yeah, those are great guys. They have been very easy to work with.
okay? So what coming up this session, when we get a chance to, will you give us notice when we should come down and
yeah, look, I would like to get that. I would like to get to work on that as quickly as possible.
Okay.
And so what I would do is I would get with the chair of appropriations and the chair of ways and means, find out their availability, and then we'll set up maybe a lunch or something at their availability. You all can come and sit down and we can lobby together for what it is that we're asking for. Now, in addition to that $1 million for the real-time crime center, if there's anything else that you all want me to be pushing for, let's get that together so that we can start working on that on day one.
Okay. All right. We'll get it to you before day one.
I'll get it to me before day one, but that'll be that first week of January, so you don't have a whole lot of time.
No, sure, that's right.
But y'all get it together, we'll have that on day one, and we'll start working to set up the appropriate meetings and lobby these folks. And last year we ended up, and this kind of came at the last minute, but we ended up having a lot of money allocated to CMU. And I think that if we had not had to have so much money allocated to CMU, then maybe we could have got money for some other things. You can't get everything. Right. But CMU made a compelling argument for why they needed what they needed. Personally, I'm not into building out new businesses. That's not my thing. But they were able to get that, and Senator Blackman was able to be very instrumental in them securing that. Hopefully, this year, they won't need a bunch of money from the state, and we can get some money for some other things that would make this town better. So that's my hope.
All right. Thank you so very much.
So thank you all for having me, and you all let me know when you need me back. Like I said, I'm available. I know you have my cell number. This is my all the women right here. So she has my number, but everybody else, anybody who does not have my contact information that needs it. Everybody out there, you have it, right here, you should have it. If you don't,
I can get it.
you can get it. Okay, well look, I'm available if you all need me, call. If I don't answer, I do not have a voicemail, but send me a text.
Yes, sir.
Okay? I look forward to following up. Y'all get that, get those priorities to me and we'll go from there. Okay, am I dismissed? Okay. All right, y'all take it.
Hold on 1 second, hold on 1 second. Many years ago, Doc, and I'm just sitting here thinking about this, there was a young attorney here, his name was Edward Blackman. Along with a gentleman from the city council in Jackson, Louis Armstrong. The debate and the fight was over CMU bills in the city of Canton. They were too high. I just thought
I'm CMU bills is high, and I don't know if CMU is cutting deals to the folks in the community when they can't pay their bills. So, I wasn't for it, and if they were still here, I would have told them to their face I was not for it, but they got it, and I hope locally, they are functioning on all cylinders and are independent now. And if they can't be, then, you know, maybe we need a merger or something.
Right.
But anyway, conversation for another time, right?
Right.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. All right, thank you.
I was a young man, but I was just out of high school. I didn't know all the classes.
Nothing, I mean,
Item 6 is approval of claims, contractual claims item.
do we have a motion?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Tim Taylor, aye.
Brown eye.
Wells,
In that.
Motion passed. As it relates to item 7,
Authorize and approve Wagner Engineering for task order number 20, City of Canton redistricting ordinance assessment to review and ensure accuracy and completeness of the legal description in alignment with the board map.
do we have a motion? Do we have a motion?
my motion is Mayor.
Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Wells,
Tim Taylor, aye.
Brown eye.
In that.
Motion carried. Item 8,
Authorize and approve Wagner Engineering to draft a task order for repairs in Ellis Scott subdivision and on Johnson Street.
do we have a motion?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion regarding room number 8 as documented and stated.
Do we
To
have a
approve this,
second?
Mayor.
I'm sorry.
You good?
Do we have a second?
I second with my red.
Other than ready to call,
In my emergency, can we specifically say what the repairs would be? That's for,
yeah,
It's for the,
Correct.
okay, that's for the broken part, right? Like emergency,
okay, so you,
but it's for the broken.
before you vote, do we have a second? I mean, do we have a motion?
Yes, you said,
All in favor?
Brown eye.
Wells,
In that.
you're down.
Oh, you got Tim Taylor, I'm sorry.
Motion carried.
Yeah. Nine, on the other side.
Yeah, a lot of those lines, huh?
Item 9,
Item 9, approve to allocate $2,000 for the City of Canton's 2025 mail pay activity.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve room number 9 as stated.
Second,
all in favor?
you're down.
Brown eye.
Tim Taylor, aye.
Wells,
In that.
Motion carried. Number 10,
Authorize and approve an assessment with cost for paving City Hall's parking lot.
do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second,
I'm ready, ladies. Sorry.
Did you still ready to go?
I did.
Other than ready to go, Taylor?
Yeah, with the parking lot, we talking about a complete repair?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mine ready to submit.
All in favor?
you're down.
Wells,
Tim Taylor,
Brown eye.
In that.
Motion carried. Item 11, Dr. Anderson.
Consideration of approval of renewal of Westlaw agreement at $387,025 monthly.
with certain language.
Yes, sir.
what was what?
Okay.
It says you got to sign with a certain language that a
Predecessor board
predecessor
cannot be
board
bound.
balances.
But that's true, predecessor board cannot be bound. What is the relationship with that to this membership you have to have? Is she there?
Attorney Banks?
She's not there.
She said something.
I think there's a real agreement on this amount. I guess we can go on with renewal of the agreement. y'all wanna come back to that, or we can just wanna vote on it.
I mean, it's something that we normally
You do, you don't have that paper.
But if you got a comment, I like to hear it, based on the added information. Yeah.
I'm asking what is the pleasure of this board?
Can we come back and hear them? Yeah.
Come back to 12, I mean, let's do 12.
There you go.
Oh, that's you.
If we're on item 11, Attorney Banks, the renewal of the 3 to 7.25 cents monthly, and then it says,
Okay, I'll be there in a moment. Y'all just give me an indulgence. I'm so sorry to be late, but I was being that much strength to fight on the phone. I'm all right.
We'll come back.
We'll come back.
Yeah.
item 12,
Ratification of voter precinct change for Ward 4 from Fire Station 4 to Mount Levi.
do we have a motion?
I motion that we, accept change.
Go ahead.
Changing the precinct, Ward 4 precinct to Mount Levi from, Fire Station
Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Give you a
Tim Taylor,
Brown.
Wells,
Motion carried.
I think what was it?
Item 13,
Item 13, ratification of approval of amended resolution of the city of Canton, Mississippi, electing standard allowance for purpose of reporting to the United States Department of Treasury pursuant to the American Rescue Act of 2021 for the purchase of 3,595 gallon oil cars.
do we have a motion?
Motion, Mayor.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Brown.
Tim Taylor.
Wells,
That's correct.
Give you a
Motion carried. The mayor will entertain a motion with the consent agenda.
I got it. Okay.
The motion, the mayor will entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
So moved, Mayor.
Do we have a second?
second.
All in favor?
Brown.
Tim Taylor.
give you
Wells,
That's correct.
Motion carried. The mayor will entertain a motion to go into the executive session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Give you a
Tim Taylor.
Wells,
That's good, Mayor.
Motion carried. Attorney Banks,